coalition of civil society organizations under the aegis of cohort of civil society groups is condemning the attack on patriotic civil society groups championing the possession of looters of the nation's treasury by anti-graft agencies. The condemnation came to the fore at a press conference organized by the group on the state of the fight against corruption in Nigeria and the malicious attacks on anti-corruption agencies. Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, Awal Rafsanjani, expressed concern over the antics of corruption enablers in Nigeria, lamenting that Nigerians have witnessed with alarm numerous cases featuring a high number of foreign enablers from across the world.
Accepted that transparency and accountability are crucial elements that enables democracies to flourish. In Nigeria, however, our so-called democracy has persistently functioned under a veil of secrecy and lawlessness. The management of the country's resources has constantly disregarded the fundamental principle of democracy. Over the past few weeks, we have observed with great concern the malicious attacks and deliberate efforts to blackmail anti-corruption agencies through sponsorship, influencers, insensitive opinion publication in some national dailies, online and electronic platforms, all targeted at discouraging anti-corruption efforts and shielding people who have actually looted this country from being investigated. The pattern is clear. There is an unfolding plot of serious move to backpedal all the progress made by anti-corruption in this country. We cannot continue to allow our country to be hijacked by these corrupt individuals who did not constitute any significant number, but keeping Nigerians, in their vast majority, in perpetual poverty, insecurity, and inequality. Now, there are a number of ways in which these corrupt people and their enablers have facilitated corruption and attack on anti-corruption institutions in Nigeria. Number one, judicial corruption. Judicial corruption constitutes a major challenge to anti-corruption work in Nigeria. The looters have repeatedly used their influence to manipulate the judicial process and system to block and delay or arrest or prosecute of suspects. This blatant disregard for the rule of law has eroded public trust and reinforced the perception that Nigerian democracy is nothing more than a facade. Clearly, the judiciary is not living up to its responsibility of ensuring that the rule of law and provision of the constitutions are upheld. As you can see that many Nigerians, they are even afraid to go to court because if you don't have money to bribe, you may not get justice. And if the administrative justice system is working against the general public, then it means that people will lose confidence in our judiciary. We also know that there are men and women of integrity in the judiciary, and that is why they need to rise up to rescue the image of the judiciary.
He also advocated for adequate funding of agencies in the fight against corruption in the country.
Budgetary allocation to the EFCC, ICPC, Code of Conduct, Nigerian Police, among others, are inadequate. Poor resource allocation is a calculated attempt to gradually push these agencies toward extinction by limiting their resources. The government is effectively crippling their ability to function effectively and independently, because if you refuse to provide them with enabling resources, how will they be able to work? Take, for example, the Nigerian police. The budget of the Nigerian police is so insignificant that even the office of the National Security Advisor has more money than the police. This can only happen in Nigeria. We already complained that we have insufficient policemen. You cannot provide resources to recruit competent police officers. You could not provide them with resources to effectively deal with criminality in this country. Not to talk of the anti-corruption agencies like EFCC, ICPC, code of conduct that is supposed to look at the declaration as a declaration of all the public officials in Nigeria who run into millions now, and you will deprive them, how will they be able to investigate the claims that you have declared your asset? So you can see that there's a deliberate and conscious effort to cripple the anti-corruption work if you do not provide them with enabling resources, or if you do not give them the support that they needed to do their work. Number 5, rising disinformation on the anti-corruption effort. There are desperate efforts by corrupt elements to disinform, mislead, and confuse Nigerians on the effort of various anti-corruption institutions in Nigeria. We are worried over the poor understanding of the work and mandate of the anti-corruption agencies by many Nigerians, including youth, who recently play an active role in preventing arrest of some prominent looters of public treasury, not minding the negative impact of the loots on rising unemployment and economic downtown being experienced, and aligning critical sectors that endlessly plunge our economy.
Senior Fellow, Center for Democracy and Development, Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, also gave a perspective on why corruption is thriving in Nigeria.
The alarm we have is that corruption is defeating the Nigerian state at this point in time. The first element of that defeat is that the judiciary provides the response to checkmate corruption. What corruption enablers have done is two things to the judiciary: introduce their friends and relations into positions in the judiciary, and secondly, increase considerably the level of corruption through the bribing of judges. So increasingly, judiciary is no longer able to be a space that provides justice. The second element in terms of this defeat of the Nigerian state has to do with the anti-corruption agencies themselves. There has been a concerted war by corrupt people in public office in Nigeria to make sure anti-corruption agencies are unable or prevented from prosecuting corrupt individuals. This means they are turning those institutions into institutions that are incapable of carrying out what's in their mandate. The third issue, and in a sense this is the most important, is they are making it impossible for government institutions to do their work.
That attacks on institutions that have a mandate of defending our democracy by ensuring public leaders are held to account is a critical work and task for every Nigerian. And I think something we must take from here, that it is reprehensible, is unacceptable, this amount of attacks on anti-corruption agencies. Because what we do when we attack these institutions, especially when they act to advance public interest, we're undermining democracy and the rule of law.